Peace, family. As I said in a lot of my videos, I'm not a fan of the left or the right of this political system. It is time black people stop committing our votes to the Democrats and stop waiting on Republicans to do anything. It is time for us to create an alternative for our own. But it's so funny when you watch the news and listen to these fools. When you listen to the Republicans, how they talk about their own, you don't need nobody else to talk about them. Watch this.
Coming up, Donald Trump's former attorney general spent the better part of last year harshly criticizing his old boss.
It is a horror show when he's left to his own devices, and so you may want his policies, but Trump will not deliver Trump policies. He will deliver chaos. He knew that the claims of stolen election were false, and yet he decided he was going to try to stay in office by subverting that process. There was very grave wrongdoing here, and I think it's reasonable to say that it falls within the obstruction of a proceeding. Our country can't be a therapy session for, a troubled man like this. He is a consummate narcissist. He will always put his own interests and gratifying his own ego ahead of everything else, including the country's interest.
Well, last year's Bill Barr, meet this year's Bill Barr. You'll never believe who he's now supporting for president. That's ahead on Morning Joe. We'll be right back.
I can believe it. I see these fools do the same thing over and over again. They castrate each other, and as soon as they get elected, they turn right around and start praising them. They find some reason to just, I don't know how you can do this, right in front of your own eyes. They do it all the time, but let's continue watching this fiasco. Watch this.
We have another about face from a Trump ally turned critic. Harsh critic, very harsh. No. Turned ally again, despite previously warning that a second Trump term would be, quote, chaos.
Chaos.
And, let me just say this correctly, a horror show.
You're not saying this.
No, I'm not.
Who's saying this?
Bill Barr.
Bill Barr, that's right. Boy,
chaos.
He said to be a
and
nightmare.
And a horror show. A nightmare.
I'm sure he's going to be campaigning for President Biden to try to stop this from happening.
To try and avoid a horror show.
A horror show. Who wants chaos in a horror show in the White House?
Former Attorney General Bill Barr now says he plans to vote for Donald Trump in November.
What? Wait, but
do these guys know that?
I don't understand.
Anyhow, in a Fox News interview yesterday, Barr was asked about this year's general election choices. Here's what he had to say.
Given two bad choices, I think it's my duty to pick the person I think would do the least harm to the country. And in my mind, that's I will vote the Republican ticket. I will support the Republican ticket. I think the real danger to the country, the real danger to democracy, as I say, is the progressive agenda. And while Trump, again, I said Trump may be playing Russian roulette, but continuation of the Biden administration is national suicide, in my opinion.
Barr is just the latest in a long line of Republicans who found the courage to stand up to Donald Trump, only to then come crawling back again. Take a look.
It's so sad. Bill Barr, you said that a second Donald Trump presidency would be a nightmare. You said he's not going to fulfill any of the legislation that he said he's going to do. It would be an absolute disaster. I don't have no problem with you supporting your party. And if you don't want to support Joe Biden, I'm 100% fine with that. But you mean to tell me that out of the whole entire Republican side of this two-party system, you ain't got no other candidate that you could vote for in the Republican Party that you could support to be president other than Donald Trump? If Donald Trump is a nightmare for a second term as president, you telling me there ain't no other person in the party that you could support? And this is what you're saying about the head of the party, that this is the person that's going for president of the United States. And if this is coming from if Donald Trump is going to be a nightmare for this country in the second presidency, what do you got to say? What hope do you have in the underlings that serve up under Trump? I mean, but let's continue with this nonsense. Watch this.
We're tired of the Donald Trump drama. We want real Republican drama. Donald Trump's not a Republican. We want real Republican drama. If he's off the teleprompter, he can barely keep a cogent thought.
You support him for president even if he's convicted in classified documents. You support him for president even though you believe he contributed to an insurrection. You support him for president even though you believe he's lying about the last election. You support him for president even if he's convicted in the Manhattan case. I just want to say the answer to that is yes, correct?
Yeah, me and 51% of America.
He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. I'm for Donald Trump because I know what I'm going to get. We need somebody that on day one can get this country back on track. Please help President Trump. If you can afford $5 or $10, if you can't afford $1 fine, just pray. If you got any money to give it.
There is no way we are going to allow a con artist to take over the conservative movement, and Donald Trump is a con artist.
You said it would be an honor to be offered a spot on his ticket. Really?
Yeah, I think anyone who's offered the opportunity to serve this country as vice president should be honored. I think the country and the world was a better place when he was president, and I would love to see him return to the White House.
I think really there's a sophomore quality that is entertaining about Mr. Trump. But I am worried. I'm very concerned about having him in charge of the nuclear weapons because I think his response, his visceral response to attack people on their appearance, short, tall, fat, ugly. My goodness, that happened in junior high. Are we not way above that? Would we not all be worried to have someone like that in charge of the nuclear arsenal? But I'm proud of the job Donald Trump has done as president. I don't always agree with him. But our occasional policy differences are far outweighed by our significant agreements. But more important than simple agreement is accomplishment. President Trump gets things done.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding.
Can he count on your support?
Yes.
That's an endorsement.
I will support the president. I will support President Trump.
Would you be willing to serve in a Trump cabinet?
In the right position. Look, if I'm the best person for the job, yes.
I don't want to claim this guy. Donald Trump, if we're going to be honest, is a progressive. He supports eminent domain. He's supported tax increases before. He's donated $300,000 to Democratic candidates. So the fact that the Republican Party is now having to claim him is both unfortunate and, to me, inauthentic.
I want my daughter to grow up in President Donald J. Trump's America.
Oh, my.
You know, I had to let all these hypocrites get their word in. This is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how this woman can sit up here and say that she wants her daughter to grow up in a Donald Trump presidency. So I don't know how old her daughter is. But Donald Trump, according to the Constitution, he can only serve 4 years. So what is the Republican plan beyond Donald Trump? If you have a person that they have claimed to be a con artist, a liar, a bully, an adolescent, a criminal, an insurrectionist, if this is the guy that you want to be president of the United States, and this is the only candidate that you're willing to support out of your whole Republican Party, what is your plan 4 years from now when, according to the Constitution, he has to leave at that point? If this is the best of the best, and even Republicans say he's not even a real Republican. This is how these people are able to sit up here and talk about democratic cities, how badly they're governed, but don't offer no Republican example of how a city or town should be governed. They're hypocrites and liars, and they are all led by the biggest hypocrite and the biggest liar, Donald J. Trump.